Hi, I'm Gillian and welcome to the show. I offer spiritual growth for the rebel soul, guiding you through the labyrinth of your own ascension path. This show is for the rebel souls that challenge the status quo, those that crave authenticity in every single aspect of their lives, that desire to embrace their uniqueness, follow their passions, connect to their soul and live according to who they truly are, even if that means having the courage to go against the grain or the norms of society. If that's you, my spiritual soul seeker, rebel warrior, then this is the place for you. On this podcast, we speak about everything from spirituality, sexuality, conscious relationships, business, and literally everything in between. So if that's your jam, then stay tuned. And go on, be a rebel and subscribe. You know you want to. So I was just speaking to someone who has been in a lot of pain for quite a while. They have had a lot of jaw pain and have had severe insomnia, for as long as they can remember. And when I asked them, what have you done about it? What have you tried? What have you looked into? And they said they tried a few things, but had the realization that maybe they were just happy in their pain. And that actually came straight from the horse's mouth. They said, maybe I'm just so used to the pain. And it was such an aha moment for me, understanding the paradox of pain. Why do people choose to stay in pain? Why do people choose to stay stuck? And that doesn't have to be in physical pain, but that could just be in emotional pain. Staying in relationships that they're not fully satisfied in. Staying in jobs that don't fulfill them, where they don't have meaning or feel like they don't have purpose. And for anyone that's listening to this, I know that you want more for yourself. I know that you want the most loving, supportive, conscious relationships possible, the deepest levels of intimacy with other people, to know yourself at the most profound level, to have a connection with God, spirit, source, the universe, to be able to trust yourself implicitly. So you can lead a life that is so authentic to you, that is so self-led, that you don't care about societal norms and you are willing to go against the grain. And for a lot of you rebel souls out there, like myself, you have probably gone through this transition or going through a transition where you kept yourself stuck, where you were in those unhealthy relationships, where you were in an unsatisfying career, where you were starting to question everything about yourself and be is this it? Is this truly what life is? And for depending where you are on your own spiritual journey, these realizations will come at different times. And honestly, they continue to come. No matter how far you are in your own evolutionary or ascension journey, they continue to come and come and come. So, as I said, if you are wanting more from life, if you know you deserve more from life, but perhaps you're just at this crossroads of making a decision or choosing to stay or go from some aspect of your life, but you found yourself in this habitual pattern of kind of choosing to stay in the pain, as I said, whether that's physical or emotional, it's all part of the human experience. And while we might think it's normal or natural to seek relief from suffering, it's actually so intriguing to explore the paradox of why some of us, consciously or not, choose to stay in that pain. And this is a topic, this is a psychological, emotional, and even a societal piece of conversation that honestly contributes to this whole decision. So I wanted to use this episode to go through the reasons that I see people choose to stay in the pain and why I ended up staying in my pain for such a period in my past life. Not my past life, but yeah, in my past lives too. So one of the reasons that we stay in pain, as I said, whether that is just feeling stuck, feeling unsatisfied in some way, not making a decision, at a crossroads in our life, staying in that relationship, settling for whatever way that means for you. If we can just take a step back right now And you just close your eyes and sit into that feeling of settling. Ugh. Where do you feel that in your body? Like, what is coming up for you when I say settling? Is it a feeling? Is it a color? Is it a memory? Like, where are you feeling that in your body? How does it feel? Like, for me, when I say settling, it brings up certain parts of my past, certain experiences, relationships, places that I stayed stuck for so long. And I feel that in my heart. And it feels like a dullness. It feels like a numbing. It feels like a tightness. It feels like I want to escape my body, quite frankly. And a lot of people that are in pain, this is how they feel. And again, many of this, most of this is unconscious, unless you've done a grand amount of work on yourself to raise your level of consciousness and self-awareness. A lot of this is so hidden from us. And it's all happening at like a subconscious level. So some of the reasons that I noticed that I used to keep myself stuck in, and probably the two prominent things for me were, I guess, illness. Like, I had some serious illnesses when I was younger. I was numbing myself a lot with different things, partying, drinking, which is the norm, I'll say in inverted commas, within our society. But it's not. We're just numbing. We're just numbing our pain. We're just trying to make a little bit of pain have a little bit of relief. But it's not. And that could be for many of us: sex, TV, drugs, food. There's so many numbing agents. And for me, it was also different relationships that I stayed in way too long that I should have left earlier in my 20s. And also this very successful career that I had, my previous business, that I stayed in way too long. And I wasn't happy. And on the outside, I had everything. I had money and abundance and a successful business and a team and all of those things. But whilst that business, and I'm so grateful for having learned the experiences that I did, and I'm working through a lot of my own shadow shit within that business, to be honest. I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, there was quite a few years where I was not happy, and I was using these numbing tactics to make myself somehow feel a little bit fulfilled, when the choices I was making to stay stuck, stay in that career, stay in that business were ultimately on me. But I was choosing to stay in the pain. And these are the things that have come up for me now when I'm talking about it. And these might also be ringing true for you somewhere in your life. So I really wanted to go into what I realized that so many of us do of why we stay in the pain. And the first one is familiarity and comfort. Like I said to my friend today, why are you choosing to stay in this pain? Why have you not explored different ways that you can overcome this, to understand why it's there and to move through it? Because you absolutely can. I used to have insomnia as a teenager, and I went to sleep school. And this person also has insomnia and has had for a very long time. I managed to heal mine because I did the inner work. But there's a reason that sometimes people don't choose to do that inner work. Now, I know that isn't you. If you're listening to this podcast, I know that you choose to do the inner work. I know that when you realize that you are keeping yourself stuck, you want to change. And you are not afraid to go and seek therapies or solutions that maybe aren't the norm, maybe are a little bit wild or a little bit out there, but you are willing to take that chance because you know you deserve better. But we have to get over these reasons that we stay in the discomfort first and foremost. So yeah, familiarity and comfort. Like, one of the reasons that I for sure chose to stay in my pain was because it was familiar. It sounds so insane when I'm saying this, but like, we are humans, we are creatures of habit, and even the negative patterns can actually become comforting when they're known. It's weird. It's like the familiarity becomes our safe space, even though it isn't. Even though that safe space is uncomfortable and we feel claustrophobic and stuck and uninspired, it feels overwhelming, but it's familiar to us. And when something is familiar to us, it's not scary. It's like we know how to navigate this. Yes, feeling stuck is shit, but I know how to navigate that. Like, there's no surprises here. And the scary thing of moving out of that familiarity, of that discomfort that we're so used to living in, especially if we've lived in it for such a long time, is stepping out into the unknown. Like, even if that unknown promises relief, it can be scary as a motherfucker to go and make changes when where we've been for such a long time is all we know. And again, you know, through our logical mind, we're like, well, that doesn't make sense. But we, as humans, are not tend to be that logical sometimes. And the things that rule us, the things that run us, are often hidden. They're often in our subconscious. And until we bring them to the surface and shift those and clear those, then they can rule our lives and keep us in that stuck place. So like I said, even if these solutions that we know are available to us, because we have solutions to everything, even if those promise us huge relief to our pain, they can be so daunting. And actually they can be perceived for us as a greater threat than the current pain itself. Now, I want you to like really sink into that one. The solution, even if it promises relief to our pain, can be as daunting and can be perceived as a greater threat than the current pain itself. So again, as I go through these reasonings to why we stay in our pain, like, just sit and feel into your situation, wherever you're feeling stuck in your life, wherever you have to make a decision, wherever you're at a crossroads, whatever part of your life that is in, does that ring true? Are you just afraid to move because your pain is so comfortable? Your pain is familiar to you that it's actually so scary to go into the unknown. Is that what's keeping you stuck? And going on from that, like moving in from that fear of unknown, you know, the fear of change, like these come up all the time with my clients, no matter what we're working through. Fear of change, like that is a powerful force that honestly can keep us so tethered to our pain. Even if that pain is so unbearable, even if we are in, you know, the most emotionally overwhelming state that we've been in, even if we are in, like, we've consumed ourselves so much that we're so depressed, anxious, like it's coming out in physical ailments, in health, in the people we're around, like whatever it is. The uncertainty that accompanies change can be overwhelming. We can fear the unknown consequences of like breaking free from these painful chains that we've caught ourselves in, which leads us to cling to what's familiar and predictable. Like, again, that fear of change can keep us so tethered to our pain, even though we know there's solutions out there. And this is what I see why people don't move forward. This is what I see when people are unfulfilled in their lives, because they haven't managed to break through that barrier of the fear of change, of the fear of the unknown. And it happens so much whether you have your own business, whether you're in a relationship that you're not fully happy and content in. Like, we settle, right? We settle because, you know, what's familiar we can manage even if it's not great. But we don't know what else is out there because we've never experienced it yet. And that just holds us back. And in life, we sometimes have to take a leap of faith. Like leaping like the hangman in tarot, where we have to jump off the fucking cliff. And just hope there's a parachute. Just hope there's an eagle there that we can land on. That will give us the view and the vision of where we're meant to go. And I have done that so many times. I have leaped off the cliff so many times because I needed to move. I wasn't happy and I needed to move. And I didn't know what that was going to look like. But I trusted. I had to trust. I had to trust myself. I had to trust that I was capable. I had to trust the universe. I had to trust that there was more available for me because I knew I deserved it. And I know that you know that too. So it's like, how can we shift this fear of the unknown? And we can do that. This is a big part of the work that I do with people, is really like helping you shift these things, like where are your blocks and moving through them. Because always, anytime that I have been faced with any kind of fear of the unknown, when I've moved through it, every single time it feels so big. But when I've moved past that, when I've moved through that, it is like I've said to myself, oh my God, that was so fucking easy. This is amazing. Why have I kept myself like on this glass ceiling? Why have I not moved before? But, you know, it's part of the process, right? And we do it when we're ready. And sometimes actually we don't do it when we're ready, like, because we're never fully ready. So sometimes you just got to do it. You just got to do it. So yeah, the fear of change can really keep us stuck. And this is the other thing that I said to my friend this morning. I said, look, you know, a reason that maybe you haven't looked for other types of solutions, because he knows that I have solutions for him. He knows that my methods, although unorthodox, my spiritual therapies, my regression, my healings, they have profound effects and profound healings. And I mean, myself included, I am my best client, honestly, because everything that I do, I use on myself. And where I've shifted and changed and leveled up time and time again in my life of who I am is because of the work that I do. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping other people. Like, so he knows that I have some solutions for him that can help. But I also said to him, you know, there's a reason that you haven't asked for my help. And there's a part of you that your identity and your self-worth is intrinsically linked to your pain. Like, we can create, I know, again, it sounds crazy. When I'm like talking out loud, it sounds so mental to me too, but this is the reality of it. It's like, we can create such an identity. And I actually did a shift on my own self around my own identity. And I had to release part of my old identity to really step into my new identity of who I was becoming as a person, who I was becoming as a spiritual business owner. Like, that next level, we have to continue to shed our old identities. And that's scary because, again, it's all we know. And we are so tethered to our identity, right? And our pain can become so intertwined with our own sense of identity. And we can actually start to believe that our suffering defines us. Like, we can start to believe that our pain or our stuckness or our situation or, you know, our relationship that we're consistently like gossiping about or saying is, or arguing with our partner about, or, you know, or that we hate our jobs or whatever it is, like, it shapes our self-image, and it can actually provide a narrative that you've just grown accustomed to. So really look at that in your life. Like, where are you feeling stuck? And where have you now allowed that pain to form a level of image around yourself? A level of like habitual patterning that now doesn't just go to how you see yourself, but also to how other people see you. Because usually this transits out to other people, right? When we're in this level of pain or identity, other people will know about it. And this will be part of identity of how people see us. And do you really want to be seen as like in your pain? Or do you want to be seen as empowered, as a leader of your own life, as someone that has gone against the grain and questions the status quo on everything, does everything they can to become their most authentic self? Because trust me, when you're in pain, you are not your authentic self. That is not your authentic self. Your authentic self is free, is empowered, is love, is connected, is trusting. And when we're in pain, we are none of those things. We are so disconnected to who we are. We're disconnected to our own internal wisdom, to the universe, to ourselves, to other people. Like, that's what pain is. Again, be that emotional or physical or mental pain. we are crying out for help because we are so disconnected. And that is not authenticity. Being a rebel soul, I was going to say rebellious soul, but rebel soul is better. Being a rebel soul isn't like someone that does bad things or anything like that. It's someone that challenges the status quo, that goes against the norms, because the norms want to keep us in pain. The norms want to keep us in fear and separation and control, and that's not what a rebel is. A rebel is like doing what they can to become their most authentic self, that is challenging those norms, that is resisting societal expectations, that is embracing their uniqueness, that is willing to take that unconventional path because they know that they are worthy of living the life that they choose, that they desire. And when we're in pain, we're not choosing that. So letting go of this identity that we've become accustomed to can honestly be like, we can create so much resistance to it as it really requires like a lot of reevaluation, and it requires healing and support and self-awareness to reevaluate who we really are without that pain. Like, and we get to choose. This is like the exciting part of it, right? Like, we get to choose our identity. We get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose who we are without that pain. Just because you've lived with this pain for such a long time, just because, you know, you've been in this relationship, you've been in this job, you've whatever it is, wherever your pain is, you've had these health issues, you've been an insomniac for however long, whatever it is you get to choose your new identity. And you might have been led to believe that you don't get to choose, but I am here to tell you we get to choose. And that is amazing. And that is the beautiful thing about being authentic and finding out who you truly are and connecting to source wisdom, connecting to the universe, and co-creating your life with the universe, with yourself here in the material plane, but also your spiritual self. Like, we cannot do one without the other. And that's how I see our ascension path, honestly. Our growth, our personal growth, and our growth to ascension is coming back to oneness, coming back to ourself, coming back to love. And that is the opposite of pain. And we can do that when we are connected to, as I said, the universe, our like spirits, ourself. It's all one in the same. But when we're so disconnected from our soul, we are in pain. And I don't want you to be in pain. And you don't want to be in pain either. I've been there. I bought the t-shirt. I bought the shop. And none of them fit very well, let's just say that. So another reason that we keep stuck, or that we keep perpetuating our own pain when we have the choice to shift it, is guilt and self-punishment. Now, again, we are curious creatures, us humans, and our human psyche just fascinates me. The more that I unlearn about myself, the more that I unleash about myself, the more that I discover about all of my clients and just how we operate as humans and in this world. Because for some of us, staying in pain is actually a form of self-punishment. Like, we can have feelings of guilt or unworthiness, and that can actually lead us to believe that we are deserving of the suffering that we endure. And again, look, this is probably, if this is you, you're probably not fully conscious of this, or maybe you are. Maybe as I say this, maybe as you listen, maybe this is ringing true in your body. And you're like, oh fuck, I am choosing to remain in pain. Like, as a subconscious way of atoning for potentially some perceived wrongs or perceived mistakes that you've made in this life. Because that totally happens. We can totally do that. And potentially stuff that we've done in past lives. And it's created this perpetual cycle that is really difficult to break. And this is actually a big thing. Like, when I have any clients that come in with any kind of physical ailment or pain in some way, and we go into exploring their past lives, this often comes up that we have carried this pain over as a physical ailment because they have chosen to carry some kind of guilt or unworthiness and choosing to punish themselves for a mistake that they made or a wrong that they did in a different lifetime. And getting to the root cause of that allows healing to take place. And when that takes place, guess what happens? The pain can leave. The pain's only there because you're not looking at it, because you're not moving, because you're not making that choice, because you're choosing to stay stuck. When we find the root cause of our pain, we can create a new identity for ourselves. And this is what I love helping my clients to do. It's so beautiful. And the fifth reason that I have around why we choose to stay stuck or choose to be in our pain. External validation. Oh, this is a big one. And this is, again, you are a rebel soul. And I know you might have been moving from this place of looking at others for validation, looking at others for understanding or acceptance. But when we come back to ourselves, when we start to trust our own self, when we start to recreate a connection with our authentic self and our soul and our spiritual side, then we do not need external validation. We become self-led because we have all the answers inside of ourselves. And oh my God, that was me. That used to be me. I looked for the answers everywhere but myself. I was so indecisive. I, needed validation. Is this the right thing to do? Am I making the right choice? Am I enough? Like all of these things that so many of us have. And it keeps us in a place of disempowerment. And this, again, is one of the reasons that I see people stay in their pain. Society often places such a value on resilience and endurance. And honestly, sometimes it's at the detriment of our own well-being. Sometimes we can stay in our pain because we think it aligns with, society's expectations of independence and strength and perseverance and not asking for help, or the fear of being judged for seeking help or admitting vulnerability, or for making a choice that we feel might be the wrong choice. All of these things of where we don't seek external validation, where we don't seek external help, or where we are seeking too much external validation and we're not moving at all. All of this can be a reason that we stay in our pain. Am I making the right decision? What will this person say? How will I be perceived? All of these fears around getting it wrong or being judged, it keeps us stuck. Do I leave this relationship? Well, what are people going to say? Am I making the right choice? Am I going to find someone that's better for me? I'm afraid to be alone. All of this stuff. Oh, I'm not fully happy in my job. I want to start my own business. Oh, but what are people going to say? Are they going to say I'm crazy, or I don't have enough skills, or I'm not going to be able to do it, or I'm going to fail, or, all of this stuff. So there's two sides of it, there's really, it's with this external validation, there's people that rely too much on it, that you cannot make your own choices because you genuinely are so disconnected yourself that you do not trust yourself. And then there's the other side where you're so afraid of being judged for being vulnerable or for making those choices that stops you from doing it. So what are you? And I hope this has helped you kind of understand where you're keeping yourself stuck. Because as I said, if you're listening to this, you are the type of person that knows they can do it differently and are not afraid to do it fucking differently. I have been that person. I have been stuck. But once I was self-aware enough to understand that I was the one that was doing this, that I was the one that was keeping myself in pain, that I wasn't feeling fulfilled, that I didn't feel connected, that I didn't have the things that I saw other people have that I wanted, I was the one that made the move. I was the one that seeked ways of shifting my mindset, of shifting my emotions, of being able to expand myself in ways that I never knew were possible, because I took the leap of faith. And, being able to really trust ourselves and connect back to our authentic selves is honestly the only way to do that. And as I said, that is what I help my clients do with every session, anytime working with me. We are unblocking everything that is stopping you. We are connecting you deeper and deeper to your true self, to connect you with your intuition, to connect you with source, to raise your levels of consciousness, to raise your level of awareness, and ultimately to help you evolve on your ascension journey. Because your ascension journey is to come back to love, to come back to oneness. And those are the people that are my rebel souls. Those are the people that will do anything to be their true authentic self, that are willing to go against the norm. Because the norm is bullshit. It is. Oh, I could speak about this for hours, but I won't. We'll keep to the plan today, Gillian. We'll keep to the plan. But yeah, as I said, this is a shout out to all of you guys that know you are worthy of more and are maybe at a crossroads in your life, that are maybe keeping yourself stuck in some way. Like, if you are looking for clarity on that, if you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for understanding to make the right decision, if you want to shift past your fear of change, your blocks, like anything that is stopping you from truly getting what you want, then you can. As I said, this is what I do. This is what I help my clients with. Whether we're in longer term mentorship, whether we are doing one-on-one sessions, whether you're in the membership and you're getting access to all these different tools to learn and understand yourself at a deeper level, whether you want to develop your own psychic skills so you can have that level of wisdom and trust, so you can connect to the deeper parts of yourself in the universe, so you can become spiritually friggin' self-led, so you can have the things that you want without fear, then the options are there for you. But the choice is, do you choose it? Understanding why you choose to stay in pain is such a multifaceted exploration of the human psychology, and it just continues to move through, unraveling those web of familiar patterns, your identity, your social expectations. Like, recognizing all of these factors is honestly so crucial for helping you to have more empathy for yourself and allowing you to break free from the chains of your own suffering. Doing that in a compassionate and understanding environment is honestly the way to your healing and liberation from your own paradox of pain. Like, this is why I love helping my clients, because I was in my own jail for such a long time and I broke free. But I was the one that broke free. The key was there. The key was there. I just had to unlock the door. And unlocking the door for me was to start to understand myself at a deeper level, and to understand myself at a conscious and subconscious level, because that's where a lot of the work is. And it's so fascinating what comes out. So my beauties, my lovely rebel souls, if you are looking for some guidance and support on your own ascension journey, to navigate the labyrinth of your own unique soul's path, where you are craving to be your authentic self, to live the life that you want, that you choose, that is not dictated by society or anyone else for that matter, then this is the place for you. So if you enjoyed this and if you want more of this, then please press the subscribe button. It really, really helps me to share my message with other amazing rebel souls who want to live a life of authenticity and freedom, like you. And if you want to work with me, all the details are in the description below, and I would love to see you next time. Or hear you next time. Or you hear me. Either way, I would love for you to be part of my world. And that is me for today. I will see you on the next one. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.